What's up, y'all? Carrie here, your watercolor misfit. And before we get into this video, I wanted to let you know that this video is a like it to win it. And you specifically asked for this drawing. This is going to be Spooky Kitty. So if you want to find out how you can win this drawing for free, make sure to stay tuned to the very end of this video, and I will give you instructions on how to get this drawing for yourself to play around with. Now, let's go ahead and jump into this, shall we? If you've clicked on this video, chances are you have felt this gnawing, just anxiety within the pit of your stomach when either starting a project or starting something in watercolor for the very first time. There is just something about the white of the paper that we all find super intimidating. Such as, how do we even start? Or what should I even start painting with? Or am I gonna even make this look the way I want it to in my head? Well, I bet you might not realize it from my videos, but these thoughts actually run through my brain all the time before I actually begin just starting painting. Yep, I have anxiety about starting too. So you are not alone, and guess what? Others have the exact same fears too. In fact, last week I asked a group of my Misfitians why they were afraid to start in the first place, and over 60 people responded within days. Some of them had very similar responses and others were completely different reasons. But somewhere deep down, we all have this feeling of being intimidated to start. So how do I actually conquer this fear? Well, before I answer that, I need to share a quick story with you first. My husband and I actually celebrated our 5-year anniversary last week at a sweet little church-sponsored pumpkin patch, and it got me kind of thinking about when we first met. You see, right now, I can thoroughly say he is my best friend in the entire world, and I absolutely love him. I love him to pieces, basically. He is my soulmate. He is my all, everything. But we did not start out that way. In fact, actually, we kind of hated each other's guts when we first met each other. It was one of those stories of, you know, guy meets girl, and on first impressions, they absolutely hate one another. That was kind of our story. Now, getting back to my love story. One of the reasons why my husband and I didn't hit it off well from the get-go was because we didn't take the time to actually get to know one another. Rather, we met and immediately had a bad misunderstanding that caused us to basically distance ourselves from one another. It wasn't until we were actually forced to work with one another that we started to realize how much we actually had in common and how good of friends we could actually be. Granted, this process took over 4 years, mind you. Now, that's a story for another day. So how is watercolor similar to relationships? Well, think about it if you were meeting someone new for the first time at this coffee shop and you just were there to have a simple conversation. You knew nothing about the person other than their name and basic generic stuff. Some of you actually, like me, might be super intimidated to even meet someone new, while others might jump at the chance, which is something similar my husband would do. He loves to meet new people and just experience the world, but yet I'm a little bit more shy and intimidated. The same is actually true of watercolor. Some people feel super tense when purchasing a new supply, that they don't even want to crack the lid. Yet others are extremely excited to try their paints and immediately jump in. Now, getting back to our original question, how do you actually conquer the fear of starting? Whether it's beginning watercolor or starting a new project. Well, the same is actually true for that coffee date too. And it's something that my husband and I learned some 4 years after we had our first meeting. It's simply by just talking and continuing to learn about the other person. You are bound to find something of commonality that sparks your interest. And then once you find that, you just kind of hone in on it and continue to learn it. Now, you're probably thinking, Carrie, you can't talk to your watercolors because they don't talk back. Well, yes, but at the same time, as you're learning your watercolors, they are kind of talking back to you in this weird kind of way. Without saying any words, just by learning the basics, just by playing around with your watercolors, you're actually learning something that they are trying to tell you. I highly recommend keeping a journal, and this is something that I wish I had done. I'm actually starting to do it now, but I wish I had done when I first was starting watercolor. And in that journal, I would really like for you to just keep experiments with watercolor, things that you've learned with watercolor, basic washes, basic gradient washes, doing like lines and shapes and creating doodles out of them, working with ink and how does ink respond with watercolor. Basically, what this whole thing is you're trying to learn how watercolor works. And by learning more and more and keeping that journal, you're going to figure out when you have that awkward moment while you're painting, you're gonna go, oh yeah, it did this last time, and this is how I fixed it from my Wreck-It journal, so I can fix it this time. So basically that fear that you have deep down in you is usually rooted in something because you've never encountered it before and you don't know what's gonna happen next. Same as that coffee shop with that communication with that new person. You're uneasy because you don't know what's gonna happen next in that conversation. However, the more you learn about the person, the less intimidating it's gonna be because you know they're not gonna just completely blow up on you or they're gonna walk away and reject you. You know that they're gonna stay there and be there with you as a loyal friend the more you get to know their personality. The same is true with watercolor. There's certain paints that are gonna be your best friend. You're absolutely gonna love them. You're gonna love how they work on the paper, how they work with other colors, how they lay certain washes down, techniques that they have, how they work with salt. The more you play around with your colors, the more you're gonna understand how to use them. And that anxiety of starting is gonna slowly wade back because you actually understand what's going to happen next based on that Wreck-It journal or those findings. Basically, you're continually experimenting and learning how your watercolor works. Another thing that I highly recommend in putting into your Wreck-It journal is kind of keeping a list of different art styles that basically spark your interest. What do you like? Once again, we're kind of at that coffee shop and you're trying to find things that motivate you or spark your interest in this unknown person in front of you, or in our case, this unknown watercolor medium that you're still trying to learn. So what I recommend is keeping a list. Things that I really enjoy myself are bright colors. You probably noticed that. I enjoy bright colors. I'm still kind of fine-tuning my own color palette, but I know for a fact that I really enjoy color palettes that kind of start with an opera pink or some form of magenta, a yellow, and a turquoise. Those three colors make these kind of bright colors that I really enjoy. Whereas there are other artists who prefer more of a subdued color palette that really starts with those basic traditional colors that are red, yellow, and blue. Now, by keeping a journal of your findings, not only is it going to help you learn your watercolors, but also you're probably going to notice that you are actually more inclined to a certain style of art. And this is why I think it's so important to keep a Wreck-It journal of just all your findings with watercolor. Because what's going to end up happening as you finish that Wreck-It journal is you'll be able to look through your pages and actually start to see a little bit of your own art style starting to peek through. Because chances are you're not going to be doing stuff in your Wreck-It journal that you hate. You're going to want to do stuff that you actually enjoy. And that is it for this video. I'm actually gonna cut this short because I know time-wise this is probably gonna be a long video. So if you wanna learn more about this topic, and also I think I'm gonna provide a list of things that you could go ahead and place in your watercolor journal to go ahead and wreck it, I'm gonna provide a link to a blog post, and I'm gonna add a little bit more information plus this information in that blog post for you to read if you're interested in learning more. Another thing that I wanna say is, like I said earlier, this is a like it to win it video. If you want the Spooky Kitty drawing for free, you need to make sure to hit that like button, because by hitting that like button, if we can hit 2,000 likes in the next 7 days, I'm gonna go ahead and give you this drawing for free. But we have to hit that likes of 2,000 on this video in order to get that. That kind of just lets me know that you are really invested and really want this drawing, because it is a little bit of a process to get it all set up on the back end for you to all get it for free. And so that just helps me know that you really want this. Another thing that I want to do is spotlight an artist on this channel. This week I'm going to be spotlighting Tio again. And the reason for that is because I really like his limited palette, and he's actually done some more videos on that. Limited palette watercolor tutorials and kind of ideas of how to use them. I think those are great for putting in your journal, and that's another reason why I'm going to spotlight those this week. So make sure to go check out that video, as well as if you're not subscribed to him, go ahead and subscribe and like his videos as well. And finally, if you are not subscribed to this channel and you like content like this, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so that you can know when I upload new content just for you. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye!